Okay, good night, Shabbos friends. We're continuing our Shiurim on Friday. Good to see everybody back. We're going to begin with our series called Pesacheinu Megadim, connecting the beginning and end of each Parsha. So I'm taking you to the email. If you don't get our emails, you could subscribe, go to our site, rabbidg.com, and subscribe to the weekly emails. We're starting with Pesacheinu Megadim. And here we go. Parshas Chayei, connecting the beginning and the end of the Parsha. What's very interesting is the Parsha begins with the years of the life of Sarah, 127 righteous years. The Parsha ends equally with the 127 righteous years of Abraham. So you say, what? Avraham Avinu didn't live 127 years. He lived 175 years. Nope. He lived 127 years. Why? The Chassam Sofer in his Hakdam B'Techulin writes that Avraham Avinu was 48 years old when he recognized the Creator. In that case, he also lived 127 righteous years. In fact, the Chassam Sofer asks, Chazal tell us that in the merit of Sarah's 127 righteous years, Esther ruled over 127 Medinos. So the Chassam Sofer asks, who says that it was in the merit of Sarah's 127 righteous years? Maybe it was in the merit of Abraham's 127 righteous years. So the Parsha begins and ends really with the 127 righteous years, first of Sarah and then of Abraham. Now, what's interesting is that if you look in the Balei HaTosfos, it says by Sarah, Vayiyu Chayei Sarah, Mea Shana, Ve'esrim Shana, Ve'sheva Shanim, Shnei Chayei Sarah. The same type of wording it says at the end of the Parsha by Yishmael. Ve'ela Shnei Chayei Yishmael, Me'as Shana, Ushloishim Shana, Ve'sheva Shanim. And Tosfos says, well, if Rashi interprets the Shana by the years of the life of Sarah, then doesn't that mean you have to interpret by the years of the life of Yishmael? And Tosfos says, yeah, you do. That even though Yishmael sinned, he did not continue in his sin, and he did tshuva. From 7 to 30, at 30 he was like 7 because he did tshuva, and his zedoinos are not just like his chuyos. But anyway, according to Tosfos, the same way we darshan Shana by Sarah, we darshan Shana by Yishmael. The Ramban asks this question, that if you're going to darshan it by Sarah, we would have to darshan it by Yishmael. And the Ramban is not satisfied to say, indeed, Yishmael has those positive attributes. And the Abarbanel explains that we do not darshan this only by Sarah, because the word Shana alone is not conclusive. It's only because it says Shnei Chayei Sarah. So because it says Shnei Chayei, then it's repetitive. But by Yishmael, where it does not say Shnei Chayei, Yishmael, we would not darshan it. So it would come out that we really need the end of the Parsha to know how to interpret the beginning of the Parsha. Because at the end of the Parsha it says, Ve'ela Shnei Chayei Yishmael, Me'as Shana, Ushloishim Shana, Ve'sheva Shanim. So you could ask, by Sarah, besides the Mea Shana, Ve'esrim Shana, Ve'sheva Shanim, it also says Shnei Chayei Sarah. So you would be troubled that it's extra, it's superfluous. Shnei Chayei Sarah. So that indicates we should darshan the years by Sarah. But that demonstrates to us that sort of the beginning of the Parsha is interpreted in light of what it says at the end of the Parsha. Here's another interesting connection. In the Sefer Yoshia Tzion, Reb Tzion HaKohen, he says the end of the Parsha is connected to the beginning, namely, the end of the Parsha says, Al Pnei Kol Echav Nafal. It's a reference to Yishmael. on the face of all of his brothers, he falls, or he resides. And the Baal HaTurim says that we have a tradition that when Yishmael falls in the end of days, Ve'ela Todos Yitzchak, that's when Mashiach will come. And so the end of the Parsha is talking about the fall of Yishmael and the fruition of Mashiach. That's connected to the beginning of the Parsha, because the words Meah, Vayiyu, Chayei, Sarah, Meah is Rashi Tevois Mashiach. The first 4 words of the Parsha, Vayiyu, Chayei, Sarah, Meah, is Rashi Tevois Mashiach. So you say, no, it's not Rashi Tevois Mashiach, it's Rashi Tevois Mashuach, because Vayiyu begins with a Vav. So the Sefer Yoshia Tzion says that we don't count the Vav, because the Vav is just a Vav Hashimush. So it's as if it says, Yiyu Chayei Sarah Meah. So it's Rashi Tevois Mashiach. And it's Soifei Tevois Shem Havaya. By the way, the Roikeach already says this, quoted by the Chida, Vayiyu Chayei Sarah Meah, it's Rashi Tevois Mashuach. Then in the Zchus of Sarah, Mashiach will come. So the end of the Parsha is really connected to the beginning. The end of the Parsha talks about the downfall of Yishmael and the coming of Mashiach. And the Parsha begins, Vayiyu Chayei Sarah Meah, Rashi Tevois Mashuach. Other Rishonim also see, by the way, the Chida explains that the reason why Sarah was, in her merit, Mashiach comes, is because the main corruption that came to this world came about through Chava, and Sarah Imenu very greatly was masakein what Chava did. Therefore, in her zechus, Mashiach will come, because she was the one who really was masakein the avera of Chava. So the Chida brings the Rashi Tevois, Vayiyu Chayei Sarah Meah, Rashi Tevois Mashuach. The Sefer Yoshia Tzion brings Rashi Tevois Mashiach. Rabbeinu Ephraim says that the Rashi Tevois of this whole pasuk of Vayiyu Chayei Sarah Meah Shan V'Esrim Shan B'Shev Shanim Shnei Chayei Sarah is Rashi Tevois David Melech Yisrael Chai V'Kayam. And the Rashi Tevois and also Moshe Ra. Ra is Rashi Tevois Roya Amai. In fact, the Sefer Zakan Aron says that because Sarah was connected to Mashiach and her avodah was to expedite Mashiach, that's the reason why she chased out Yishmael. Because since when Yishmael falls, Mashiach will come, and Sarah's avodah is to bring Mashiach, because Rashi Tevois Vayiyu Chayei Sarah Meah is Rashi Tevois Mashuach or Mashiach. That's the reason she was the one to chase out Yishmael. Now here's also very interesting. The Parsha begins talking about the burial spot that Avram Avinu purchased, the Mars Machpelah Me'es B'nei Ches. And then at the end of the Parsha, it goes back to Hasada Asher Kana Avraham Me'es B'nei Ches, Shama Kavar Avraham V'Sara Ishtai. Look over there what it says in the Medrash Rabbah, that, it's very interesting. It says at the end of the Parsha, the field that Avram bought, there Avram and Sarah were buried. As if Avram and Sarah were buried at the same time. Avram and Sarah were not buried at the same time. There's a 38-year difference between Abraham and Sarah's burial. Sarah passed away at 127. By the way, how much older was Abraham than Sarah? Abraham was 10 years older, right? Because when Abraham was 100 years old, Sarah was 90. Yitzchak is the 10 tests, the 90 years of Sarah, the 8 days of Milah, and the 100 years of Abraham. So Abraham was 10 years older than Sarah. So when Sarah died at 127, Abraham was 137, and he did not pass away until 38 years later. The Medrash says that anyone who did chesed to Sarah was considered like they did chesed to Avram. Be it as it may, the Parsha does begin and end with the kavura in the Makom that Avram Avinu purchased, Me'es b'nei Ches. Okay? So these are 4 ideas connecting the beginning of the Parsha to the end of the Parsha, indicating that it's Pesacheinu, Megadim, that the doorways, the entrance and the exit are full of great delights. Okay? That is number 1 for today.